Yes, my friends, corruption exists in Africa, and bribery, and embezzlement, and cronyism. But that's where the story usually ends. We hear about the local official caught with suitcases of cash, but not the multinational who paid the bribe. We hear about dodgy contracts, but not the London lawyer who set up the shell company. We hear about impunity in Africa, but not the bankers and brokers who enable it and profit from it. Greetings, friends. I'm Dr. Christy Agawu, researcher, storyteller, and truth speaker. Today, we're tackling a myth that just won't die, the idea that Africa is corrupt. That's not analysis, it's judgment, and it's convenient. If you're finding this content valuable, go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. So, the myth deflects from the deeper truth that others are profiting from Africa's corruption. One wonders, why is corruption front page news in Lagos, but a quiet footnote in London? Because that obsession isn't innocent. It's a smoke screen, a trick. Talk about African corruption so loudly, so relentlessly, incessantly that it becomes a whole story. Frame Africa's underdevelopment as its own fault, its only fault. And the real machinery, the structural system behind the scenes, it stays hidden, just the way they like it. Every year, Africa loses about $80 million through illicit financial transfer, far more than the continent receives in aid. But this isn't done in the shadows alone. It's done with help from well-known names in boardrooms and banks, many in headquarters in the West. I invite you to think about what $80 billion could do for the African population. That money could build hospitals, fund schools, spark innovation. Instead, it disappears into offshore accounts, luxury assets, and tax havens. So let's move beyond vague accusations and name some names behind the Western heist. When African wealth is looted, where does it go? Who helps to move it? Who profits? Well, take Glencore, the Swiss-based mining giant. It was finally caught in 2022. The company pled guilty to bribery and market manipulation in multiple countries, including across Africa. Glencore operatives flew in private jets carrying suitcases of cash to bribe officials in Nigeria, in Cameroon, Cote d'Ivoire, Equatorial Guinea, and South Sudan. But let's be clear, they didn't act alone. They operated within a system that enabled and rewarded this behavior for years, and they made billions. They were fined $1.4 billion by authorities in the US and UK, not for the harm caused, but for getting caught. A slap on the wrist? Maybe. Today, Glencore still operates across key African markets, extracting enormous wealth. Perhaps the same way, perhaps until they get caught again. Another company, Trafigura, also based in Switzerland, is a global commodity trader in oil, metals, and minerals. Though less visible as Glencore was, it was just as powerful. It bribed an Angolan official with over $5 million between 2009 and 11. And that's a lot of money, a truckload of money for an African official. Their former COO, Mike Wainwright, was jailed for 32 months, though he only served 12 months. And the company, it was fined a fraction of what it had made. Not a bad model. Make the money and pay a small fine. Then there's also the quiet theft, the kind that wears a suit and files taxes. The case of the Mauritian leaks exposed by the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. It showed how multinational firms and investors used Mauritius, often presented as a friendly African financial hub, as a base to funnel profits out of African countries like Senegal, Uganda, and Mozambique, depriving them of vital tax revenue. These legal tricks, backed by global law firms and banks, helped multinationals lay billions from African economies while appearing clean. According to Oxfam, poor countries lose up to $100 billion a year from tax avoidance alone. And let's not forget the Eurasian National Resources Corporation, the ENRC, once one of the biggest mining firms operating in Africa, particularly the DRC. ENRC was accused of using corrupt middlemen and shell companies to secure mineral rights in conflict zones, helping strip Congo of its cobalt and copper wealth in a deal worth almost $300 million. Their deals were so shady that the UK's Serious Fraud Office launched a multi-year investigation.
ENRC was once a FTSE 100 darling. It was delisted.
It rebranded and it's still operating, but away from public view. And of course, Western banks are involved. From HSBC to Barclays, JP Morgan to Deutsche Bank, they have been repeatedly implicated in laundering dirty money, including funds looted from African public coffers. These are not boardroom deals in smoky rooms. These are transactions cleared by financial systems in London, New York, Zurich. All of it legal, technical, boardroom approved, theft in plain sight, made possible by a system designed by the very thieves who profit from it. And these are just the ones who got caught. Imagine what goes unseen. So let's rewrite the narrative. Corruption isn't just Africa, it's transactional, structural, profitable. Western banks, law firms, accounting giants all play a role. Yet the uniquely corrupt African myth persists. It's racist, it's paternalistic, and it's convenient for those who push the story. It traps Africans in blame while others count the spoils. But let's not be mistaken. Corruption in Africa is real, and it must be confronted. But blaming only African leaders ignores the full picture. This isn't just about bad governance. It's about a system built to extract and protect. Global firms grease the wheels. Western cities shelter the loot. Laws and loopholes keep it running. The result, Africa gets the blame. Others keep the profit. It's not just corruption, it's design. So, my friends, let's be honest. Corruption is real. But if we only blame Africans, we miss the system. Africa is being looted, and the myth of African corruption is the perfect cover. It distracts, it protects, it keeps global profiteers in the shadows. So let's flip the script, expose the system, speak the truth, even when it's uncomfortable, because silence serves the looters. I ask you, what would you do with Africa's stolen wealth? Drop your thoughts, comment, share, and let's keep the pressure on. Till the next time.